When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast, this is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. Word. Welcome to this edition of Marc My Words. Today's episode is on Black love, the foundation of it and what it means, and wanting to bring awareness to our viewers. Today's guest is a lovely couple by the name of Mr. and Mrs. Derek Minigan and Tiffany Minigan. Welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So let's just start with this. Get right in. How many years have you guys been married?
This year will be 6.
6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is that still considered newlyweds or?
I don't think so.
I think it's 5, right?
I think 5, yeah.
Okay, so how many years were you together before marriage?
4?
4 years.
4 years.
4 years before marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and now together 6 years married.
Mm-hmm.
So a total of 10 basically together.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So take us to the beginning. Tiffany, how did you meet Derek Minigan?
So my cousin, Tammy, she had something at her house and she invited me. And he was friends with her husband and they also were neighbors. And so they both thought it would be a good idea for us to meet. And so we met and it wasn't. He was loud. He is loud. And we went out a couple times and I just was like, no.
You wasn't impressed at first?
Yeah, no.
Okay. So when your cousin introduced y'all, were you totally single and available?
I had been in and out of a relationship. And at that point, we were on the outs, me and my ex. And yeah, so I wasn't seeing anybody at that time.
Okay, and do you recall it just like this, Derek?
Yeah, except for the part where she where she forgot to tell you when she saw me and knew I was all that in a bag of chips. No, I'm just joking. Yeah, it was just like she said. It was pretty much the same for me. I was just getting out of something myself, so it's pretty much the same.
Okay, so tell us then, what was it that didn't click right then? I know you said he was loud.
Yeah.
But loud as in like volume or obnoxious or flamboyant, all of it?
No, just loud as in volume and just not what I was used to. And yeah, just not what I was used to. So, yeah.
Okay, so when you hear that, Derek, what do you think? When you define loud to you?
Oh, I'm loud. I was in the Army for a long time, so I'm volume loud. Yeah, it was the same for me too, though. She wasn't what I was used to either. So we were both like had these walls up. Basically like, okay, we just gonna hang out, and just be cool, be friends, and that's what we said. That's what it boiled down to at the end of the day. We said, all right, yeah, I ain't really feeling you, you ain't really feeling me. We just cool. We just gonna kick it and be cool.
So when did y'all conclude that, on the first date?
Like the third one.
Yeah, like the third
So
day.
y'all did try 3 days to see if it worked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all 3, I just was like, no, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
What year was this about?
14. So it had to been 2012.
Okay. So 2012, both of y'all had concluded this is not what it is for us. We did 3 attempts and all 3 attempts just were failures.
Right.
On each attempt, was it something different or was it the consistent loud?
Well, for me, I think it was because I wasn't done with my past. So I wanted to be sure if I was going to move on from my past. relationship. And again, I still just could not get past his loudness.
Right. So Derek, her just saying that, did you know that then, that she just wasn't so over her past?
So the one thing about her and I, we're both brutally honest with each other. And that's a dynamic that we have in our current relationship right now. We're brutally honest. If she say, hey, do I look fat in this? I'll be like, hell yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God, yes.
So
Yes.
if I ask her, she'll be like, yeah, why would you put that on? Like,
Yes.
so we're both brutally honest with each other, but in a fun way, in a loving way, not to disparage one another, but we do tell, we tell the truth, and we've been that way since the beginning. Since we decided we was gonna be friends, we've always been that way. Some people, she used to make a comment, people must think we don't like each other because we don't care who around. We just say how we feel, and that's what works for us. Yeah. So it's been like it's a blessing and a curse. Some days you might not want to hear that you look fat. I might not want to hear it, but I appreciate and respect the honesty, because without that, you don't have anything. So we keep it a buck all the time.
So she said she kind of put a name on what it was with you. You were loud. You just said she wasn't used to what she's not what you were used to at the time. What do you mean by that?
So for me, I don't want to get off topic, but to me, I thought I knew what this so-called dime was. You know, everybody want this dime, and I didn't learn what that was. I thought I was searching for this. I had this image of what a dime is. And this image was stuck in my head of what a dime is supposed to be. And I had it all wrong, And so for me, trying to fulfill that thing, that vision that I had in my head, it was like, man, this girl ain't what I'm looking for, man. I'm looking for this because this is what it's supposed to be. Boy, was I wrong about what it's supposed to be.
Right. Right. So, okay, take us to now. Y'all both said we're not going to work. But then you have to take us to where did it click to say, how did y'all go from 3 dates of not working to let's try this again?
So I had my relationship, it was over, like totally over, no going back. And I had been single for 11 months.
Okay.
And at that time, I was in school and back in school. And I just had now written down everything that I would be willing to date. Like I had a list. And I was clear on everything that I wasn't going to tolerate. Like you could not come to me and have drama as far as baby mama. You had to have a job. I didn't care what kind of a job, but you had to have a job. You had to have your own place. You had to have a relationship with your children. You had to have God at the head of your life. No, like there's no exception for that for me. Because at that time I was a single mother with raising my daughter, you had to accept my child.
You were a package.
Yes. And so I had all these things and I just was not willing to sacrifice anything. Like if you don't meet this list, then sorry. So that was the breaker for me.
Because why? Some of the lists he wasn't living up to? No,
so finally how him and I wind up getting together 2 years later after the 3 dates, it was the week of my birthday. I'll never forget it. My birthday, I think that year, it fell on a Wednesday. So he reached out to me. He was like on Facebook, hey, what you doing for your birthday? So I'm like, like, how do you know it's my birthday? And because we weren't friends on Facebook, but I guess I came up as a suggested friend. And so I'm like, nothing. And so he's like, you still with the corny dude? So I'm like, no, I'm single, but I am in school and I really don't have time to, And he was like, all right, well, for your birthday, I want to take you out. So I'm like, okay, I guess. So that my birthday again was on Wednesday. Him and I went out on Friday. He wound up picking me up from my house, and he came in, and one of my things that I love about men, and especially mine, is fragrance. Like, he smelled, I don't know, like, oh my God. So, yeah.
So that was a bonus. Mm-hmm. But Derek, okay, so now we got here. 2 years went by after you had concluded it was a wrap and she wasn't the dime at the time. Within the 2-year gap, what did you grow to learn what dime meant in that time? Or like, what made you call her on Facebook and say, let's go on a date?
To be honest with you, I think it was God. What we missed in the translation while we was telling you all of this is when I first met her at her cousin's house, I had just got back from a relationship that I had in Buffalo, and I was basically homeless, like with my son. I was a single father at that point, and I didn't even have a car. She gave me a ride to my sister's house. That's how we first met. She didn't know that I didn't have anything. And so 2 years later, God started ordering my footsteps, and he started blessing me, and everything started coming to fruition that I had ever wanted. And I had got a car, I had got a little place within those 2 years. So I really think that God holded us at first and said, let me get you ready for what I'm about to give you. And so after God got me ready, then she was able to receive me because he knew that I wouldn't be any good to her at that moment. Now, she didn't know any of that. She didn't know I was broke as a joke.
Or didn't know you were homeless?
Nope, she didn't know any of that. As a matter of fact, when we first got together, like I said, I had just came back from Buffalo. I was working at this company, and I was making like $14 an hour. But I bet you people that's looking at this now, more. Like, so I bet you people looking at this who know me, they're like, what? Yeah, I was literally making $14.13 an hour when we finally got connected. And the thing about it is, when I say I didn't know what a dime was, I thought my thought of a dime was totally off. I thought it was big button, smile, you had to have long hair, the
Instagram model.
Oh yeah. So God showed me what a dime was. God showed me a dime. To anybody that's listening, a dime is somebody that will hold you down regardless of your situation. Somebody that will pour into you and not let you become complacent in life. Somebody that's constantly uplifting you and telling you you can make it. That's what a dime is to me. Like, all the other stuff she has, all of that is an added bonus. But to me, I always tell her it's her smile and her heart that captivated me. The Bible says that a man who findeth a wife findeth a good thing. And people usually quote that scripture over and over again. But they always leave out the part that says, and he obtaineth favor. So just because you find her, now you got to cherish her and treat her right, and then God will give you favor. And so because I found my good thing, and she really is, God has given me favor beyond my wildest dreams. We don't want for nothing. We buy what we want. We eat what we want. We go where we want. And it's just been one blessing after another. And I think the whole way we met, the whole way God ordered these steps, he was ensuring that I would take good care of what he gave me, the gift that he gave me. I remember one time we both got laid off in the same month.
Really?
We both got laid off our jobs.
Once y'all decided to be together.
Yeah, we
were
were
living
dating.
together.
We
Oh,
started
y'all
living
living
together.
together. Okay.
Yep.
And we both got laid off. And I never forget, she called me. She got laid off first. And she called me and said, babe, they just laid me off. I said, okay, don't worry about it. We good. A week later, I had the same conversation. And that month, oh my God, God just opened the windows of heaven. She got a new job within that month, making about $20,000 more. And I got a job making about $30,000 more a year. And then we had some other blessings come in, and we went to a church. We went to this church with my homeboy, Jamel Baxter. We went to his church. And we're sitting there, and she's recording a portion of the service. She's just recording it just so we can have it. And the pastor stops the service. He goes, I don't usually do this, but I gotta call somebody out today because God is touching my heart. And so we looking around. He said, young man, is that your wife? We were married at this time.
Okay.
And I said, yes, sir. He said, well, God gave me some information for you. You mind coming to the front? He said, you can ask anybody. I never do this, but he told me to tell you something. And I said, let God's will be done. So he called us to the front, and he prophesied over our life. And he said that within the next couple years, y'all gonna have everything y'all want, nice house. He just told us everything. And he told us to stick together. He said, because the world is gonna be watching. And everything that man prophesied, it came to fruition.
Literally.
Everything.
Everything.
And still coming. And still coming.
So since y'all 6 years into your marriage, you would say that was what, 4
That was
years
like
ago?
the first year in our marriage.
Yeah, it was pretty early in the marriage.
It's like the first year.
Yeah, it was early.
And so y'all, of course, still remember it years later. How does that feel? How does that feel knowing we all know God is real, but just witnessing it like that, just to have a random stranger to y'all at that time just come and tell y'all where y'all at today?
And so, well, for me, I don't want to talk too much. You could talk. But for me, you know, what a lot of people don't know about us is every morning before our feet hit the floor, we pray and we read the Bible. Every morning. We have we have my sister and a couple other people on prayer line, and I send out a daily Bible verse and a daily affirmation for everyone. And we do that every day. So for when he prophesied over us, we go to church, and our own pastor called us to the side, Pastor Breedlove, and says almost the same exact thing.
So it's confirmation.
Confirmation. And you know, man, listen, if you just keep God first, because I keep him first, I tell everybody about him. I don't care where we at. We can be, I'm at the airport, I'm telling people about the goodness of God, because he said, if I be lifted up,
He would draw all men.
he'll draw all men. And so we keep him lifted up, and he keep lifting us, he keep raising us up higher and higher. And we at new heights right now. We going to new heights, and we still doing, still blessed, man. I'm gonna stop talking because you know I'm talk forever. Especially when we start talking about the goodness of God, man. We be all night.
So that call, when he called you back, and you said you were kind of bewildered, like, how do you know my birthday? So you said yes. Is that one of the best yeses that you said today?
By far was. Like, literally was.
And I'm smiling inside because I'm glad you said yes, because you were, before you were just like, no, he wasn't my type. But just to say 2 years later, let me give him a try. What was that though that make you say, he already told why he made the call, but why did you say yes to give him the try 2 years later?
Honestly, so again, at that time I was in school. So I was working full time, going to school full time, and also motherhood never stops. So I literally hadn't been on a date. So I'm like, oh, let me go eat his food. Not that I can't spare a meal, but I had been on a few dates, but it was just like, yeah, no. And when he called, it was just like, okay, I kind of sort of know him, but I don't know him. And it was just something to do. So but it by far was
Something to
absolute.
do turned into something to be.
Yes, by far. Yeah.
Wow. So he was impressive, the cologne.
Yes.
What cologne you was rocking, D, that night?
I have no idea.
Listen, I still remember what he had on. He had on a blue vest, some jeans, some Timbs, and he just smelled so good. So, yeah.
Okay, to this day, does he smell good?
Oh my God, I buy him cologne once a month.
Okay.
So yeah,
All right.
I'll make sure.
So what do you do for a living?
I am a project manager.
Okay. And what do you do for a living, Derek?
I left my job back in June. We have a friend that he's a preacher. His name is Preston Brown. He lives in Buffalo.
Okay.
And it was right after my god brother Johnny Thompson passed away.
All right.
And Preston, we you know how people say we're gonna keep in touch, we're gonna link up.
Yeah.
We actually did.
Okay.
And I found out that he was Johnny's god brother, his other god brother. So they came over and I made them some dinner. We had chicken parmesan. And
So you cook?
oh yeah, I'm a chef. So he says, "Hey D," he said, "Man, I know you. I know a lot of people be always talking about they prophesying, but he said, let me tell you something. I need to prophesy over you, man." He said, "In the next 6 months, you will not be working at your job. You'll be doing this gift that God has given you." I said, "Man, be quiet, man." He said, "No, I'm serious." He said, "Your hands are gifted." He said, "I don't know if anybody ever told you that, but your hands are gifted." He said, "In 6 months, you will not be working at your job." And that was in June.
Of 2023.
Yes. Yep.
So in November, the owner of the company came to me right before Thanksgiving. He said, "Hey, Derek, just want to let you know that we may be eliminating your position in January." And I don't know who spoke. I don't even remember it being me spoke. I said, "I'll leave now." And he said, "What? I didn't give you permission to leave." I said, "Well, you don't give me permission. I'm going to leave now." I left. I called Tiff. She said, "Thank God, praise God. I've been praying that you would leave and follow your dream." And so I said, "What?" She said, "Yeah, I've been praying for you to leave because you're too stressed out." So I come home. That's a Friday. Saturday, I'm feeling myself now because she backing me up. I'm like, yeah. I done bounced on him.
Was there no severance offered? Or?
Nothing. I didn't even care. I didn't care about that. I said, you know what? God will provide. And there's always, see, I don't want to keep being biblical, but there's always a ram in the bush. He always got a ram in the bush. If you do his work and do his will, he always has a ram in the bush. That Friday I left feeling myself. Saturday I said, okay, all right, now I'm back to reality.
Like what I'm gonna do, income and all, what I'm gonna do.
Sunday came, I went to church, we got out of church, got home, sat on the bed, I said, listen, hey, you know I left my job, right?
Like remind her from yesterday, like.
She said, yeah. She said, yeah. I said, well, what am I gonna do? She said, you're gonna do what God told you to do. You're gonna cook some food. I said, but nobody don't know me in this city. Who gonna buy food for me? Nobody don't really. She said, God got you, bro. And I said, all right. So Monday afternoon, I put out that I was selling lunches. I said, I'm selling lunches Tuesday. And I made some lunch. I put a picture up on Facebook. I said, anybody wants some, let me know. We ain't get no calls. We ain't get no calls all day long. We wake up Tuesday morning, we got 42 lunch orders. 42 lunch orders.
So
and
made money in your sleep, basically.
So I woke her up, I showed her, I said, and then, you know, it just was so overwhelming. I'm getting teared up now. It was so overwhelming that God had said, you know what, you ain't got to worry about this. I tell her all the time, you ever see the squirrels and the birds talking to each other? Yo, man, what we gonna eat tomorrow? They don't worry about that. God said, what David said, I've never seen the righteous forsaken nor a seed begging for bread. And so we sold those lunches. Thursday we did another 36.
The first
same
week.
week.
The same
Yep,
week.
the
2 days
first
later.
week.
And that Saturday,
We did
Friday night, I
Exotic
woke up
wings.
at 3 o'clock in the morning, and she said, "What's going on?" I said, "I just wrote a recipe. I wrote a recipe for some exotic chicken wings." She said, "Boy, it's 3 o'clock in the morning." I said, "Yeah, babe, but I got to show you this. I got to show you this recipe." So I wrote this recipe. She said, "Well, let's go get the chicken in the morning." We went to Restaurant Depot. We got a case of chicken. We sold out that Saturday.
So y'all
The
had
full
an
case.
excellent week. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday.
Oh my God, yeah.
The full case. And how
The
many come in
full
the case?
case. Like 240?
It's 480 wings almost to a case.
And y'all
It's
sold
4 10-pound bags. in it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry.
And since then, we've been selling 2 to 3 cases.
Well, Super Bowl Sunday, oh my gosh.
Super Bowl
I
Sunday,
thought I
we
was
sold
gonna turn
like
into it.
we sold like 4 cases.
Yes,
Super Bowl
it
So
Sunday.
you
was so
cook and
crazy.
deliver to
Yes.
these people. That's what
Yep.
it was.
Yeah,
Okay.
cook and
Yep.
deliver. That's Cooking with Uncle D, LLC.
Yeah, I can't.
Cooking with Uncle D, LLC. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Give me a try. I promise you won't be disappointed.
And I must say myself, the two have invited me out to their home for the dinner, and it was spectacular. I don't even want to call it a dinner for the experience. It was a whole experience from the time I pulled up till I left. I mean, just the ingredients, the love, the passion that's put into the food. I promise you, you won't go wrong. After this, please, as he said, follow all his platforms and support. You and your stomach will be satisfied.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it, bro.
Yes.
Thank you.
And so, with him cooking, are you a cook?
No,
Okay, you said that real quick
No.
and graciously.
no,
So,
not at all. He literally does all the cooking. I do all the cleaning.
okay, that works for y'all.
Yep.
That's the deal.
Yep.
But now I've done some research on you too. As I look over both of your Instagrams and your Facebooks, I see he does the cooking, but I also see the tags of Tables by Tiff. So you do the setting and the ambiance, and that's all the time.
Yes.
Okay, so but you're still employed, or you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
so you're still employed, but that's what you do on the side to assist your mate.
Correct.
Okay, and what joy you get out of that?
Well, as soon as he took becoming a chef serious, I jumped on board immediately. I started buying the chef coats. I started the pages to make everybody aware, and I just, of course, always want to support my husband. So
Heavy.
I just, whatever he says that he needs, I'm there. And sometimes I try to do stuff before him even saying it. So as soon as he said that he wanted to do Cooking with Uncle D's, in which he got the name from our niece, I was just on board. So I knew if he did the whole meal thing, who wants to come and sit at the same table? So I said, okay, we have to spiff up this table. We can't just have it be the same every time. So that's what started Tables by Tiff.
So I hear you saying you support your king, and that's huge, and that's a big part of this segment of Black Love. That's why the love is lasting here, the support. So when you look into you guys' camera here, and you tell other women about the importance of getting behind your man, because a lot of women just be like, oh, that's just potential. I don't want to get behind that. You got behind it. He wasn't even afraid to tell the job, look, I can do it today. Because
Right.
most men will just be like, I think it is because I got to go home and face her. You had already put that in him, like, I'm with you. That helped him to say, you know what, we ain't got to wait till January. So how do you explain that to the next woman of being able to really stand behind your man?
I think, well, one, because he said, we are big on our prayer life. So I have been asking God to show us. And the thing about it is, a lot of times when we ask God for things, it doesn't come in the package that we want it to come in. You know what I mean? So I of course, like I wasn't praying that, oh, my husband lose his job or my husband get fired or whatever, but I just wanted God to show him where he wanted him to be. And, you know, my biggest fear for me, even till this day, and I ask the Lord every single day on my drive to work, is not to leave this world with me not fulfilling whatever it is that he had me here for. Like, I want to make sure that I do that. And like with my husband, this man can cook.
He does.
Like, he can.
And I'm glad when I said cook earlier, you correctly me, said chef. It is a difference.
Yes.
So Derek, what is the difference between a cook and a chef?
Well, anybody can cook. Well, almost anybody. You can make making ramen noodles is cooking. That's cooking. You know what I mean? Making hot dogs, that's cooking. I think the difference, in my personal opinion, is that chefs write recipes. Chefs, what did I tell you the other day? Something was wrong. We was making mashed potatoes, and the mashed potatoes were a little off. And she was like, babe, the potatoes, because I always make her taste them. And she said, the potatoes are off. I said, don't worry about it. She said, well, what do you mean don't worry about it? The guests are going to be here. I said, I can fix that. So a chef can fix those errors in a dish, and you won't even know that I fixed it. You know, and I think that's the difference. There are a lot of great cooks in our city. We have a lot of talented people in our city.
Okay.
And I tell her all the time, I'm not in competition with anyone.
Right.
I want us all to like eat and win. I wish we could all come together and do a big cooking thing for the city, especially for my passion is homeless veterans, especially like for homeless veterans or anybody that just want to come out and enjoy a good meal who can't normally afford those high priced restaurants. I think we should all get together, come together, rent out a space, and just provide some meals, have some music, and all of us just share our talents with the world, with the city of Rochester. Just share our talents with the city. No competition, just us all enjoying and sharing and cooking some good food for the people, just to give the people a shot at what we do, especially in our community. You know, so
now you know you can spearhead that.
that's why I'm putting it out there for you. You good at putting that stuff together. But yeah, man. So you know, and to piggyback on what she said, like, it's always good to have somebody that ain't scared to worship with you, man. Like, they ain't scared to worship anywhere.
Let me tell you. So, okay, so Derek literally is the first man that I've ever lived with. Like, I've never lived with anyone, and no one has ever lived with me. So when he moved in, I would say within the first 3 weeks of him moving in, I would see him every morning just getting up and reading. And he would go in the bathroom, and I'm assuming that he was praying. I don't know. To this day, I really don't know. I'm thinking that's what he was doing. And so finally, when I seen him reading every morning, I'm like, what are you reading? You know, like, I know you ain't on Facebook. So he said, the Bible. So I'm like, oh. So I said, why didn't you ask me if I wanted to be a part of that?
Why you being discreet?
Yeah. So he was like, oh, I mean, if you want to. So 3 weeks in from us moving in together, that's it. Literally from then till now, that's been our routine. There's not a morning. Even if one of us go out of town, which, you know, both of us have family out of town, he'd call me 6 o'clock in the morning, babe, you up? And read and pray. Like, every single day.
That's magnificent. I have to say though this, like, right, to the viewers that's watching, there's many times as men that we come across good women. Many times. There's not many Tiffanys. There's one Tiffany, Darasaw, Minigan. However, there's many women that know how to try and attempt with all they have to be good to a man. And a lot of times we as men, we don't receive it, or we fail and let them down. So my question to you, with her being this consistent, being this type of woman, what made you just say, this is what you want and you don't want to play with it? Like, how if another man is watching this, what can he do to grasp and stay and remain? Because again, we go through this, but we lose and drop the ball on Tiffany's.
So I was watching this preacher, and he didn't say it quite this way. I took what he said and I reworded some of it. But when the world began, when God put Adam in the garden, you do know Adam was in the garden by himself, right? God put Adam to sleep, took a rib and made woman, right? But before woman came along, man was in the garden alone. It was man's inherent responsibility to take care of the garden. Man washed his own clothes. Man took care of the animals, kids, animals, you could use that metaphorically. Man took care of himself. Man cooked the food. Man did everything. God saw that man was tired. So God put him to sleep, created woman as a helpmate. Y'all hear that, fellas? Help. But their inherent responsibility is ours as men. It's our responsibility. Before woman came along, we was doing all of that. We was washing the clothes, doing the dishes, all of that. So now what has happened is men have not learned or stopped taking care of the garden. So, in order to be blessed, in order to even, appreciate a Tiffany, you have to be a good keeper of your garden. You have to keep the garden. You have to make sure that your woman shouldn't have to come home and wash clothes if you are already home. You the first one home. Your woman shouldn't have to come home and prepare dinner if you are already there. You shouldn't be waiting on her to do stuff with the kids if you are already there and she at work. And I think a lot of times people get complacent, they get lost in translation. That's a woman's job. No, brother, it's your job. God gave the role to you. First. It was your inherent responsibility. She didn't even know what God gave you to do. She came along as a helpmate.
You better say that.
You see what I'm saying? So when brothers get out of their own way and learn to appreciate the gift, because your wife is a gift. I said it earlier. A man that findeth a wife, findeth a good thing, but what did he do? He obtained favor. But you have to be able to treat her right and take care of the garden before you can get any favor. See, to whom much is given, much is required. So a lot of brothers want the favor, but they don't want to take care of the garden. They don't want to take care of the gift. And so that's what causes relationships to fail. There's nothing that she can't talk to me about.
We got this offering plate here.
There's nothing that she can't ask for that I won't do, and vice versa. And that all comes with taking care of the garden. We sit back sometimes and people say they want what's over there, they want what's over there. The grass always look green on the other side. But my mama told me if you water your grass, it'll be just as green.
You better say that.
And what does that mean? That means take care of the garden. Take care of the garden. If you take care of your garden, everything in the garden grows. Everything attached to you is going to win. Your kids, your friends, your circle, your co-workers, all that favor will be on you. And when you walk into a room, guess what happens? The favor walk in the room with you. The favor touches everybody that's in that space. We got favor right now because of we touching and agreeing. And God, the favor is in here right now, in this building right now. There's nothing that God will withhold from you if you take care of your garden. And that's why people can't appreciate. They might have a Tiffany at home.
Right.
They can't see it. You know why they can't see it? Because the weeds is too tall. Take care of the garden. Get rid of the weeds. You'll see what you got right there in front of you. You got a Tiffany. And I think that's the biggest downfall for us men is we always looking at what the next.
Because I was going to ask you, how do we men keep our eyes focused on our garden? How do we not look at the neighbor's garden? Because unfortunately, we're visual creatures. And if the garden across the street look good, I'm not speaking for all men, but a lot of times with us, we want to inquire about that garden. So how do we focus on our garden? How do you do that?
Through prayer and supplication. Through prayer and supplication. Lord, hey man, I'm not saying that we talk all the time. We say temptation is out there.
Yeah.
You're going to be tempted. Jesus was tempted. Jesus was tempted. However, you don't have to act on it. And if you got prayer in your prayer life and you praying, you can pray that thing up off you. But if you're treating your garden right, the favor going to stop you from going.
You could look at the menu, but you ain't got to order.
Man, the favor going to stop you because no weapon formed will prosper. And people get that Bible verse twisted. God never said that the weapons wouldn't form.
They just won't prosper.
He never said that. But he did promise us that they wouldn't prosper. Temptation, depression, sickness, disease, it don't have to prosper because God is in you. And greater is he that is in you than anything that's in this world.
That's right.
So if you got God in you, man, and you trying hard, yeah, you're going to be tempted. You might flirt a little bit every now and again. You might do that, but God will deliver you and take you and make sure that you do the right thing.
And so, Tiff, hearing him say all that, like, where is that going? Where is that resonating? Has that come out of his vocals right now? How do you feel hearing him say that?
Beyond blessed. Beyond blessed. Like, the thing about us, like, don't get it twisted. We get into arguments and we get into it. But the thing about it is we don't go to bed, like, not talking. He tried it. He literally tried it. He has a man cave, and I don't know what the argument was about, but he tried to stay in the basement. And I'm like, I called him, of course, on the cell phone. What you doing? So he's like, I'm downstairs. What you want? I'm like, okay, so when you coming upstairs?
That's right.
So he like, I'm not. Oh, okay. I got my stuff, went right downstairs in that basement. Listen here, bruh. Don't even try it. Like, no. So, like, we may not be the best of friends at that time when we're going through, but and I hear so many couples say that they don't talk to their husband or their wives for like days at a time.
It all 2 days. I'm
like, what?
We don't do those.
Yeah,
just
no.
walking past in the house.
I won't even allow my children.
Why won't y'all do that? Why is that important not to do that for y'all?
For me personally, I think as the man, you have to lead by example, man. You man, and I wish people take out of context and say the woman is the weaker vessel. They take that way too far out of context. Cause my baby's strong. You know what I mean? And I get what they saying. She's strong-willed, strong-hearted. She is strong. But I think that as a man, you shouldn't want to go to bed like that. Who wants to go to bed and you got that PYT laying next to you? And let me tell you something. Women is slick, man.
They're intentional.
When they mad, they gonna put on the toughest nightgown.
They're intentional.
And you gonna be sitting there looking stupid in the face. I don't want you anyway. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But your pride, and your pride will cause you to fall. Like you gotta put your pride down. Like I say stupid stuff to her when
he do it all the time.
When she mad at me, I say something dumb, man. Like something just totally dumb.
Which annoys her more at that time.
Oh my God, yes.
But you know what happens? He busts out laughing because she can't help it because I said something stupid. So she be like, boy, you were so crazy. And we forgot all about what we was arguing about.
Okay. So that's a good strategy. That's a good skill that you have. It's not that you're negating her feelings. You just, as you said earlier, that it's your way of dealing with or not dealing with something that seems confrontational. So, but you know that about her. Okay. So as I was also digging with y'all research and the two of you going through your social medias, you two are very stylish. You're stylish. And so is that a part of your, I know it's a part of the love, but presentation wise, does that mean something to y'all as a couple?
So initially, when I was the one who suggested, dress alike. Him, no, I ain't in high school. So I'm like, I think it's cute. Like, let's just do it. So I started buying us like, little things. If I see something for me that will also fit him, I will grab him something. And now he just done took it over.
Okay.
He done took it over.
I thought about it, and I said, a lot of people disagree with it. You don't want to dress like your spouse or whatever. I thought about it, and what better way to show unity, uniformity. I was in the Army for 12 years.
Okay.
And so uniformity shows strength. If you and your spouse, when you walk into a room and y'all dress alike, they're gonna talk about you. Look at them, they like high school, but guess what? Y'all just talked about it, it caught your attention. So it caught your attention enough for you to think about us to say something. But it's intentional, and it's unification for us. We are so different, but so much alike in so many ways.
We are
that is
completely
crazy.
Different.
Like, the whole dressing, like the whole fashion thing is, and you don't have to wear name brand clothes or nothing like that. But fellas, when you leave the house, you represent your wife, and vice versa. You don't want nobody out there saying, dang, her man was looking like a bum. I know you don't care.
Right.
Some guys just don't care. Some guys are like, man, I don't care with nobody's. But you should, because it's a representation of not only your wife, but it's your kids, your family. You want to present your best foot. You never know. My mother used to say, you never know who you're going to run into. So we just try to, look presentable at all times if we can,
Right.
I'm a sneakerhead, so I wear like suits with sneakers, so that's my thing. But we definitely try to keep ourselves up and look decent and nice most of the time.
And y'all do that well.
Thank you.
So I want to, before we conclude here, talk about blended family. Because I heard you say you had a daughter, and then you said you had a son.
Two
Sons, okay.
Yeah, two.
So speaking of black love, let's talk about how that works, because often that's not always easy either, a blended family. So what was your take on a blended family first when you met him?
My baby boy, well, first thing first, they're both my boys. Okay. They're my boys. So, my baby boy, he is just, he's my quiet storm.
Okay.
He just is so mild-mannered, and it's so crazy because I literally just put that up. But he just...
Coming from a loud dad.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And so because he was with his dad, and he's always been with us, initially, it was just Alexis and myself. So it was like he was the only child to his father somewhat. And of course, Alexis is my only child. And so initially when we moved in, before we even moved in, we had the conversation with the kids. And especially for me because, again, he's literally the first man that had been in our home. And so we had the conversation like, are you guys okay with it? And they were fine. And then when we finally did move in and we were all together, in the very beginning, we had some bumps. Okay. We did, and that's just being honest. And it was probably because, both of our kids
were used to being
kids. Exactly.
So like a spoiled syndrome.
Exactly. But he had already had the conversation with me that we have to stay focused. We cannot allow the kids
to reroute y'all.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah.
Exactly. So he had that conversation with me. And I'm not gonna lie to you, there was a time where he felt like I was taking up for Alexis, and he called me out on it. Okay. And looking back, and even then, of course I apologize, but I'm like, that's my baby, So I mean, we had some bumps.
And at that time, you're saying my baby
Mm-hmm.
versus if you would have been thinking our baby, you wouldn't have taken offense to it.
Right.
So what made you get the courage to even bring that to her and say, wait, look, because one thing men, we hesitant about checking women about their kid. Because usually a black woman be ready to go at it about her cub. But you were bold enough to bring it. What brought that about?
Well, like I said, we brutally honest with each other. We don't hold no punches. Like, we really don't hold no punches. Everybody that know us, sometimes are they serious or are they joking? Like, sometimes it just come out. We real with it.
So the honesty made it easy for you.
Oh yeah, man. Like, it's crazy because our oldest son is the exact.
He's just like him.
Exact,
Oh my God.
exact.
Just like him.
And the crazy part is, me and both of our sons, we have the same name. All three of us had the
He
same
thought
name.
he was George Foreman.
All y'all named Derek?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
So
George
the
Foreman.
oldest one is a rapper in Atlanta. His name is Redhead.
Okay.
The youngest one, we call him Man Man. And then we got my baby girl, Alexis.
And I call her Cocoa Puff.
And so she always wanted a son. I always wanted a daughter.
Okay. Wow.
And so God said, okay, I got you. And he blessed it. And ever since, man, I call them kids, like I talk to all of them every day. And what's striking to me the most is the boys, the young men. You know, I say, hey man, I love you, man. We love you too, Pops. They don't care who they around. They ain't ashamed to say it. At first I used to be like, man, I love you, man. Dad, come on, man, don't say that, man. I'd be like, why? I love you, bro. Nah, man, don't say that in front of my friends. But then I asked them, I said, ask your friends when the last time their dad hugged them and said they love them.
Right.
Call me back and let me know. Go ask 10 of your friends. Since then, they don't get off the phone like we say I love you. My daughter says it all the time. She won't get off the phone. She be like, okay, love you. Because, you know, I'm her personal chef. So
Okay.
man, she's so spoiled. It don't make sense.
Yeah, but the whole blended family thing. So my oldest, his mother, and I, we are mutual. Like she's very nice. I really like her. When he first came, because again he lives in Atlanta. When he first came to Rochester, the very first time, that week, and I don't know if it was a week or a weekend, it was awkward. It was just so awkward because it was like, okay, who is this lady that my daddy's staying with? And I'm looking at him like, who is this? You know, because I'm so used to my baby boy. So now I got you. And so the first time he came, it was just so awkward.
Okay.
But then the second time he came,
It was welcoming.
oh my God. It's crazy because.
So I'm like, y'all just had to check the temperature.
Yeah, I think
Man,
so.
it's so bad, man.
Wait, I'm closer. I feel like I'm actually closer to him than the other two. Because I talk to him literally every day.
Yeah, it's bad.
I
If
call
she don't
him every
answer the
single
phone, it's on.
Like
he
he
calls?
is just so
Attached now.
I love him so much. Like he is mine. And like if I need to vent about him or the other two kids, I immediately call him because he's my person.
So how important is a blended family? Is it important for you to get along with both of the boys' mother? And is it important for you to get along with Alexi's father? Like how important is the blended family with the outside parents? Is it important to have the relationship with them as well?
Absolutely. We all of us are cool. We don't have no issues. I don't do that though. I would never not want to be cool with Alexis Fox. That's just crazy to me. That's insane. Like I would never be that because I'm not a jealous person like that.
Or territorial?
No, I don't. So I just feel that That's his daughter. If you love her, you got to have respect for that man. You got to have respect for that man. That's just the point blank. Period. I'm not gonna go outside of that. And vice versa. My son's mother, they cool. They talk on the phone and everything. So we don't have those kind of issues. I think that let me just say this before we get off too far. Let me say this. When God ordains something, there won't be a lot of issues. See, sometimes
Because he's not the author of confusion.
right, and see, sometimes people say, "Well, my marriage ain't working right," but just because you're married, that don't mean God ordained it. See, we the worst thing God gave to man was free will, because God don't choose your mate for you. You choose your mate. Now He will lead you in that direction, but He'll let you choose. And sometimes we blame God and we blame the devil because our relationship ain't working. No, it's you. You the reason why. Because you saw all the signs. God showed you the signs. You knew it wasn't right, but you still did it. Now you want to blame God and you want to blame the devil. The devil and God ain't had nothing to do with it. Negro, it was you. It was you. Yeah. And if you had took the time and used your discernment and looked at the signs instead of saying, nah, having a piece of man is better than none at all. Having a piece of woman better. That's on you. But God gave you the spirit of discernment and you knew it was wrong. So that's why when the baby daddy come, you mad.
Right.
Or the baby mama call, you mad because you didn't let God lead. You led yourself. And so I think that's a big issue. I let God lead because I don't have a choice. I done been through so much bad and I've been through so much hell that God finally gave me a little piece of heaven. He said, you know what? You ain't got to suffer no more, son. Just follow my lead. Quit thinking of what you think a dime is. Let me show you what one is. And he gave me.
For me, Derek, literally, Mark, when I tell you, I had my list. I'm like, okay. Literally, for me, the only thing, and Lord, I'm not saying you wasn't right. I asked God for it. I'm like, God, let him be dark skinned. But I got a red bone. But like everything else, smell good, cook, love my baby, had his own place, had his own car, no drama, like everything.
He fit the list.
He fit the list.
So
I was not willing to waver off of my list and say, okay, but no, this is what I want. And don't get me wrong, like, of course, a lot of people at that time, would, send me little messages and whatever. And I'm just like, yeah, no.
So the reason why I think it's important to hear you say that is because a lot of women is trending to say, oh, I want the Sierra prayer. Yeah. Oh, I need the Sierra. Like everybody thinks that like just the Russell Wilson and the Sierra is it. But I'm glad to hear Tiffany said she had her own list, her own prayer. And it works, and that's what we need to see. I know it's just something to say, but it's it's salute to Sierra and Russell. But there's regular people that just is making, but they know what they want, and God sent them in your own personal prayer. But the key is having that spiritual relationship.
Definitely.
Spiritual relationship and believing and trusting that God is going to bring you who that you want or put you in that direction, as Derek said, and you have to make the choice. So I just want to conclude by, do you guys have anything that you would like to say that you probably didn't say to the eavesdroppers and to let them know something that they should know, like a last final key point about Black love?
My cousin once sent me this poem that said, love who loves you and not who you think you love. And that meant so much to me, man, because I was out here just chasing. And I got hurt a bunch of times because, like I said, God gave us free will. I saw the signs. I ignored the signs because I wanted what Derek wanted. And I never forget one of those lonely nights I sat there and I said, God, what's going on? Why can't I have a nice relationship with? And plain as day, just like I'm talking to you, he said, because you forgot about me. You forgot about me. When you give me what I want, I'll give you what you want. And I was like, but what is it? He said, you'll figure it out. And I tell you, man, since that day, man, I prayed without ceasing. And I just want people to know, man, stop wanting everybody else's blessing. Like you mentioned Russell and Sierra. Stop wanting their blessing because you don't know what hell they had to go through to get it. You want the blessing, but you don't want the hell.
You don't know their story.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. You want the blessing, but you don't want the hell come with it. The hell come with it. So you can say you want to be Russell and Sierra, you can say you want to be Derek and Tiffany, but trust me when I tell you I've been through hell and back. You know what I mean? And now I put God first and he's opening so many doors, man. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, if I had more time to tell you, man, some things, man, it's some stuff that you would never even believe it. But God has put me on the other side and I can look back. You know that old church song, my soul look back and wonder how I got over? Man, that should be my theme music.
And your last words, Tiff?
For the ladies, I would honestly have to say, hold your ground. Like, don't settle. You don't have to settle. You literally do not have to settle. And I actually seen something last night on, I believe it was Instagram. It was saying how a lot of people blame God and the devil for certain things that happen in their lives. But this gentleman was saying it's a pattern. We follow all these patterns. Like, don't continuously date the same guy, but just a different face. Sometimes we have to change ourselves and realize that sometimes we need to change. You know what I mean? Because it's not always them. Sometimes it's us. We have to make the change first. So my thing for the ladies is just don't settle. Don't settle because you are tired of being alone or lonely. Because ultimately, if you get with somebody and that person really isn't your person, they become like luggage to you. It's like a weight on you. So now you got somebody that you're taking care of that if you were by yourself, you probably have more money, be more happy. So just don't settle. And be patient.
I agree.
Be patient. Like, of course, again, I was single for 11 months before my husband asked me out again. And during those 11 months, I'm telling you, ladies, I went to God daily and said, okay, God, now I'm telling you what I want. I want him to smell good, no baby mama drama, have his own car, money, love my baby. Like, I was reminding God. And I know he's a guy that doesn't have to be reminded. But I just wanted to be clear, like, this is what I want.
Then he dropped his hunk out the sky. He dropped his hunk out the sky.
I'm telling you, when our first date, after that Friday, we went to, what was it, Nathaniel's? Mm-hmm. We went to Nathaniel's. Our first date, this man asked me the first date, so first question, you go to church? Yeah, go to church. You want more kids? I'm not totally against it. Like, he was asking me questions, and he like, okay, so you want to get married? And I'm like, I guess eventually. Like, he was asking me, yeah. And so, I mean, ladies, again, just don't settle. It's somebody out there that wants to treat you like a queen that you deserve to be treated.
Oh, let me add this. And it don't matter how many kids you got.
Yes, Lord.
It don't matter if that man telling you he the only one that's gonna want you, and that man telling you nobody else ain't gonna want you. That's a lie from the pit of hell.
Yeah.
God don't work like that.
I really do feel like a lot of ladies that have children, and especially, if they have multiple kids' father, the seed is planted not even by the men, by us thinking
they feel
ourselves,
they
yeah,
think they devalue
that we don't deserve or nobody's gonna want. That's not true. That's so not true.
The Bible says you are fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
Doesn't matter what that. God got somebody for you. Trust and believe that. Trust and believe that.
Well, there you have it from Mr. and Mrs. Derek Minigan. I just want you to know that I'm intrigued by you, honestly. I root for you. You are necessary in the space that you share and what you give to the public and what people see. You must know as a pair that you are necessary.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And that's this episode on Black Love of Marc My Words, where my guests agreed to talk, I agreed to listen, while you agreed to eavesdrop. See you next time.
When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast, this is what they've been missing. When I talk, they listen. This is what they've been missing. This podcast is what they've been missing.
Word.